The world as we know it is changing. In fact, documenting my adventures in the United States during these illustrious years. In addition, my wife, being a practicing neurologist, recently complained about me being somewhat too forgetful, even though I do have some trouble remembering the names of people whom I haven't been in contact with recently. I have been resisting any such evaluation with good reason. So, in light of the realization that there may be a negative impact on my memory, I have become motivated to document my life experiences and memories before I start losing them. I also thought my experience, if it were written in a story-like fashion, would have some benefit to my children, my grandchildren, and perhaps even for other young people. I'm also inspired to encourage the younger generation as they march forward, recognizing the fact that they need encouragement in such difficult times as they aspire to make their dreams a reality. If you are quite young and reading this book, then encouraging you is one of my primary goals, and this is regardless of whether or not you are an immigrant. I realize that today, many young people find themselves in countries that aren't necessarily their native countries. The reason for such journeys surely differs from person to person. Some travel to Europe or other first-world countries in search of quality education, job opportunities, or simply to find safer lives. Regardless of what has necessitated such a move, the fact is that the world is full of people facing enormous challenges. So, even though I can hardly be classified as young, it doesn't erase the fact that I can still identify with younger generations in a number of ways. I do recognize that the measure of my challenges as a young migrant might be nothing compared to today's unique challenges, but it certainly had the same impact back then as it has today. This means that I can easily relate to many young non-natives living in America or any part of the world today, and I consider myself the right kind of person to relate to younger generations about the challenges of migrating and how to make the most of new opportunities. For those who have just made it into this country, even for some who have been around for quite a while but haven't been able to fully adapt and integrate, I would say the walk isn't easy at all. There are simply so many issues to contend with at the same time. My goal with this book is to encourage you with my stories and wealth of experience as an immigrant. It would be my pleasure to stand with you as you face your fears, take on new challenges, and aspire to reach for greatness. The fact remains true that most young people struggle to adapt to their new environment, and this can have many different causes. These reasons may be superficial or deep-seated, but if these difficulties are allowed to flourish, they can become stumbling blocks which will stand in the way of settling down and making progress. First, there's the fear of the unknown. Finding yourself in a new environment, totally different from your ancestral land, more advanced and more beautiful, can send fears running down your spine. Can I live here alone? Will I be able to relate to all these smart people? Can I behave myself enough not to break any laws? These kinds of questions do arise, and the truth is, there are no easy answers for them. My intention is to point out, through my many experiences, how I was able to rise above the fear of the unknown and live freely. Another reason why we struggle to adapt is the massive shift in cultural orientation. At one time, you were living freely amongst friends and family, embracing your customs and practices with no hesitation. But now, you find yourself in another nation, where other cultures and ways of life may seem completely foreign. The struggle to blend in can lead to feeling as though you don't belong in this new place, but this struggle can be overcome.